Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dental Marketing Mix. I'm Dan Bryan, co-founder of Dentalscapes, and this is the show where we cut through the noise on digital marketing and give dental practice owners real actionable insight to help you grow your practice. Today, I want to ask you something that might be a little bit uncomfortable. How do you know your marketing is actually working? And I don't mean, do you have a gut feeling about it? I don't mean, does your agency send you a report every month with a bunch of numbers highlighted in green? I mean, do you actually know? Because this is the thing, there is an enormous amount of data in digital marketing, and most of it is useful to someone, just not necessarily you. And if you're spending your mental energy on the wrong numbers, you can convince yourself your marketing is performing great while your new patient pipeline is quietly drying up. That's what we're getting into today. We're going to talk about vanity metrics, what they are, why they're so seductive, why agencies love to lead with them, and why the only numbers you as a practice owner or an office manager should really be anchoring your marketing decisions to: new patients and cost per acquisition. We'll also get into why one of the most popular metrics in SEO, your keyword rankings, is increasingly unreliable and frankly an outdated way to think about your online visibility. And we'll tie that into a bigger conversation we've been having on this podcast about how the entire search landscape is shifting beneath our feet, truly. Let's get into it. So first, what do I even mean when I say vanity metric? Well, a vanity metric is any number that looks good on a report but doesn't have a reliable, direct relationship to what your practice actually cares about, which is revenue and new patients. And digital marketing is absolutely full of vanity metrics: impressions, clicks, sessions, page views, bounce rate, follower counts, email open rates, time on site. These are all things that marketing platforms track that agencies report on, and that can go up or down dramatically without moving your new patient count one bit. Now, I want to be really clear about something. I'm not saying these metrics are worthless. They're not. Inside of a marketing agency, these numbers are genuinely useful diagnostic tools. If your click-through rate drops, for instance, that tells us something about your ad creative. If your bounce rate spikes on a landing page, that tells us something about the user experience. If impressions go up but clicks don't follow, that tells us something about how your headline or listing is resonating with searchers. These numbers help us optimize. They're signals we use internally to tune campaigns and improve performance. But here's the problem. When these metrics get surfaced to practice owners in monthly reports, especially without clear context, they can create a very misleading picture. An agency can show you 40,000 impressions and 1,200 clicks and a cost per click that went down this month, and your brain interprets all of that as, my marketing is working. But if those clicks aren't turning into new patient inquiries, and those inquiries aren't turning into booked appointments, then none of that matters. The report looks great, but your schedule isn't full. This is actually a systemic issue in the industry, and it's not just a bad agency issue. A lot of agencies, even good ones, have built their reporting infrastructure around the data that marketing platforms make easy to access. Google Ads gives you clicks and impressions by default. Analytics gives you sessions and bounce rate. These numbers are readily available, they're easy to visualize, and they make reports look substantive. The harder work, actually tracking the full path from ad click to phone call to booked appointment, requires call tracking, proper attribution setup, and a genuine commitment to closing the loop. Not every agency has built that infrastructure, and not every client has demanded. So what should you be demanding? Two numbers. That's it. New patients. How many new patients came in this month, and where did they come from? And cost per acquired patient. How much did you spend in marketing to bring in each one of those patients? That is your CPA, or cost per acquisition, and it's the single most important metric for evaluating the efficiency of your marketing investment. Think about it this way. If you're spending $4,000 a month on Google Ads and you're bringing in 20 new patients from that channel, your CPA is $200 per patient. Now, is that good? Well, it depends on your practice. A general dentist where the average new patient is worth $800 over the course of their first year, that's a very healthy return. An orthodontic practice where a single case is worth $6,000 to $8,000, well, that CPA looks incredible. Pediatric practice that knows families tend to bring multiple kids and stay for years, well, the lifetime value calculus looks even better. The point is, once you start anchoring your thinking to CPA, you have a real lens for making decisions. You can compare channels. You can ask whether your marketing budget is allocated correctly. You can have a genuinely informed conversation with your marketing agency about what's working and what's not. Without it, you're essentially flying blind with a very colorful cockpit. Those reports look great. Now, I want to spend some time on keyword ranking specifically because this is where we see a lot of confusion and a lot of dentist owners putting way too much stock in a metric that at this point is only loosely correlated with actual patient acquisition. For years, keyword rankings were the gold standard for measuring SEO performance. If your practice ranked number one for dentist in, say, Chicago, that's great. The SEO was working. If you slip to page two, well, bad news, time to have a conversation with your agency. The logic felt very intuitive. Higher rankings equals more visibility equals more patients. Simple. The problem is that search has gotten dramatically more complicated, and that clean linear relationship just doesn't hold the way it used to. Let me walk you through a few reasons why. First, search results are now heavily personalized. Google tailors results based on your location, down to the neighborhood level, your search history, your device, your prior interactions with specific websites, and a host of other signals. What that means is that your ranking your agency checks from the office in Phoenix is not the ranking that a potential patient sees when they search from 3 miles from your practice on a Tuesday afternoon. There's no single universal ranking anymore. Rankings are contextual, dynamic, and vary enormously depending on who's searching and where. So when a dental marketing agency tells you you're ranking number 3 for dentists near me, that number is at best an approximation and at worst it's genuinely misleading. Second, and this is a big one, zero-click searches are now the norm, not the exception. And what do I mean by zero-click searches? Well, a significant portion of Google searches now resolve without the user ever clicking on anything. They get their answer directly from an AI overview, a featured snippet, a knowledge panel, or the local pack itself, the map listing, the reviews, the hours, the call button. Google has engineered their experience to answer as many questions as possible without sending traffic anywhere. So even if you're technically ranking in position 1 for a given keyword, if the searcher finds what they need directly from the search engine results page without clicking through to your website, that ranking produced 0 visits and 0 new patients. Traditional rank tracking doesn't capture any of this. Third, and this connects to an episode we did recently on this show that I'd encourage you to go back and listen to, we're in the middle of a fundamental shift in how patients find healthcare providers, including dentists. We're moving from a world that prioritizes rankings to a world that prioritizes recommendations. AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Google's AI Mode, and Claude, these systems don't return a ranked list of 10 blue links. They synthesize information from across the web and make a recommendation. They might say, based on your location and what patients are saying, here are a couple of dental practices worth considering. That is a categorically different kind of visibility than a traditional search ranking, and it's driven by different signals: your reputation, your content authority, the consistency and quality of your online presence across the web, all of that. Keyword position doesn't tell you anything about how you're performing in that new environment. So if rankings aren't the metric to watch, then what should you be looking at on the SEO side? Well, a few things. Organic traffic to your website, actual sessions, not estimated impressions from rank trackers, phone calls and form submissions attributed to organic search, which requires proper call tracking and UTM setup, but it's very doable. Your Google Business Profile Insights. How many people are finding you on maps, calling from your profile, or asking for directions? And over time, the downstream result: new patients who came through organic search. None of this is as clean or as easy to report on as a ranking chart, but it's real. It's connected to what actually matters to you in your practice. But I want to zoom out for a second and bring this back to the bigger picture because I think there's something important here that goes beyond any individual metric. The dental practices that are going to win in this new marketing environment, and I mean really win, build sustainable pipelines, not just ride a good month, are the ones that have genuine clarity on their numbers. They know their CPA by channel. They know their conversion rate from inquiry to booked appointment. They know their average patient value. And they make marketing decisions based on that clarity, not based on what might look good on a report. That kind of clarity requires a marketing partner who is actually committed to attribution, to closing the loop between a dollar spent and a patient acquired. It requires tracking infrastructure. It requires honest conversations about what's working and what isn't, even when that answer may not be flattering. At our agency, Dentalscapes, this is fundamentally how we think about our work. We're not in the business of making dashboards look impressive. We're in the business of filling schedules. And if we can't draw a line between what we're doing and new patients walking through your door, we want to know that because it means something needs to change. If you want to have that conversation with us, whether you're trying to evaluate your current marketing setup or you're starting from scratch, I'd encourage you to book a free strategy call at dentalscapes.com/start. We'll take a real look at where you are, what your numbers actually show, and what a clearer, more accountable marketing approach could look like for your practice. And hey, just one more thing before I let you go. If this episode gave you something useful, or if you've been listening to the dental marketing mix for a while and finding value in it, it would genuinely mean a lot to us if you took just 10 seconds to leave a 5-star rating or review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It is honestly the best way for us to reach other practice owners out there who could use this kind of help. We read every single review and we're deeply grateful for every person who takes the time. Thanks for listening to the Dental Marketing Mix. I'm Dan Bryan with Dentalscapes, and I'll see you in the next one.